All right, welcome everybody to another edition of the Ramos Podcast. My name is Tochiku of Ramos, and joining me today is someone who wanted to steal my name, but he tried, but he didn't try hard enough. Tobenna of Ramos. Toby, what's good, man?
Hi guys, I'm alright.
Toby is our rental manager. He's in charge of the RamosRent division of Ramosoflagosrealty. So, Toby, how's it going? How do you feel being on the podcast?
Feels good. It's alright.
It feels good, yeah? So you've been the rent manager for how long now?
It's been a year and 3 to 4 months. Thereabout.
And you're already the rent manager, bro. That's amazing, because I mean people do like 2-3 years and they're still in like junior level and you know still working there. So how'd you, does it mean that you're such a badass when it comes to the rental space?
It's all good.
Right. All right. So let's get straight into it, man. Because previous editions we've had agents from the sales division, coming to talk about how to buy a house, how to buy a property, la di da. But there's also a thriving rental industry. So we want to have a conversation about everything relating to that rental industry as it pertains to, putting your house up for rent or actually renting a property. So to anybody who watches this, who's looking to rent a house, this podcast is made especially for you. So today, you ready?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go straight into it. So my first question is, let's say you buy a house. Maybe you buy a bunch of terraces or you buy a block of flats. How do you put it up for rent? Is there any special thing you need to do? Maybe get any special permission from the government or a special license to put that house up for rent?
Okay. First, when you buy a property,
right,
you're automatically the owner, the landlord.
All right, yeah.
So you don't need any government, anything you get to put up your property for rent, because it's left for you to do whatever you want to with the property. So when you want to put it up for rent, which is the investment part,
yeah,
all you need to do is just contact a very well-known real estate or trusted real estate company, just like us.
Yeah.
You get
right.
That's all it takes. You don't need any government permission or anything.
But do you think that's proper? Because I mean, people feel like landlords can do whatever they want. I was on social media yesterday and I was watching a video about a landlord who was having an argument with the tenant and the owner of the house, something. So they were trying to get the lady out. They disconnected her lights, poured sand in front of the house. So I feel like if the government was involved, it would minimize such stories of, landlords taking their tenants for granted. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, you're right, actually. But in that case, you don't actually need the government or anything. This is a place, or this is the part where your your lawyer steps in. So the client's lawyer and the owner's lawyer, that's the landlord's lawyer too.
Right. So I mean, speaking of lawyers, that's where the agreement thing comes out, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good, because I have a question based on that. You want to rent a house, so you want to rent a house of 4.5 million. And then the hearing agency is 10%, agreement is 10%. Mm-hmm. That's a whopping 900,000 naira just to rent a house. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we have people who are really curious about what is the essence of this 10% that they're paying for the agreement.
Now, the 10% agency and the 10%...
No, let's talk about it. We'll talk about the agency. But let's talk about the agreement first. Yeah.
Part. Now, most times, let's say the legal used to be 5%.
Right.
But based on, how the everything is.
Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know how the inflation and everything actually affects this, but in time past, it used to be 5%.
Uh-huh.
But right now, most landlords take 10.
But it's
most landlords,
something that you
lawyers,
can negotiate.
Yeah, it's something you can negotiate.
What about the 10% agency? What is the essence of that 10%? Why does the client have to pay that 10%?
No.
What do they get for that 10%?
Okay. Now, the 10% agency.
Right.
It's 10% agency now because the owner has a mandate to the property.
What does that mean?
Like someone he hands his property over to, okay, manage this property for me, help me market this property.
Uh-huh.
Do you get? So that mandate keeps 5% of the agency. Then you, as
The rental
agent that
who
brings
brought
the client,
Uh-huh.
takes 5. That's why that one is 10.
So the 5%, so essentially the 10%, you're not getting the entire 10%.
No.
You're getting 5%.
5%.
So the 5% is just for finding the property. Is there any other special service that you render? Because I mean, are there any special services that you offer that other rental agencies do not?
Well, there are actually a lot.
Okay, we want to hear a couple of that.
Okay, one of it is, okay, when other agents rent properties, basically what they're after is the money. Once they get their money, they're off. But when I rent a property, I continue. Like it's a process. It's more like when they rent the property, that's the beginning,
Oh, okay.
not even the end. Because most properties come with, let's say, issues and all. They wouldn't want to talk to the owner. They'll be like, okay, you're the one that brought me to this property. They want to, you get. So you have to still keep that relationship with them.
So you mean like after sales or after
renting
services?
Yeah. After that is done, you still keep the communication with them. If they have any issues, you can always go knock, say hi, hope you're enjoying your new rented property and all. So
Right.
that relationship is key.
So if they have any situations with their house, maybe
communicate with you.
something electrical or maybe something structural.
Yeah.
They can
That's
bring that
above
with you.
what they can sort as the tenant. They can bring that to me. Then I relay with the owner of the house and get
okay.
that sorted
All
out.
right. So bringing me to my next question, rent, right? There's the actual rent. There's the 10% of this. There's 10% of that. There's the service charge. There's the caution. There's this. There's that. That's a whole lot of money, right? How do people arrive at these figures? Is there like maybe I don't know, because you see houses for like 9 million and 9 million rent, and then you still pay 10% and 20% and 40%. How do they arrive at those figures?
Okay. Well, it's almost same as sales because the location of the property really matters a lot.
Right.
Yeah. So another thing that you put into consideration is whether how many bed it is. One, what kind of property it is.
Okay.
If it's a 2-bed, 3-bed, that can help you determine the price. 2, the location. 3, if it's furnished or not. So when they are furnishing, when they are like properties inside, the prices tend to increase.
Right. Of course.
When it's fully furnished, when you have your fridge, everything, the whole thing is in there for you. You just come and rent it and just bring your bags. It's always on the high side because you don't need to pay any interior decor.
You're just moving in.
You just move in.
Yeah.
So that's when you see the property value gets to 9 million. Then accompanied with the fact is in phase 1 or Ikate, closer to where everything is happening.
Right.
You get. So you cannot see a property in Orchard now and it's going to be on the high side like 15 million or 8 or 9.
So basically, there's no regulation on pricing.
Not really.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but when you buy a property, it's left for you to do whatever you want with it. It's yours.
If you know.
Nobody can come and put a gun to your head and tell you, why is this so? There are properties out there that they overprice, but there's still somebody for it.
Oh. Well, what can I say? My budget is it gets as it be. But I mean, people who can afford to, right? But then, for people like me, yearly rent is huge, and because of the way the country is going, the economy is kind of is shaky, is wiggering wogoro. Is there any conversation on monthly rental collection? Do you think that's something that should be looked into?
That's actually a very good question because based on I'm also on the field. I be in the field.
in
You
the
get
field,
in
yeah.
the field. So like, it's something we come across all the time.
Uh-huh.
So in as much as you bring your own problem as the client, you don't really have so much money to do a year and all. You get there are other options. You can do short let. You get
You don't have money to pay for a year, but short let is daily. I mean,
you can do daily for short lets. You can do month. Depends on you. Cause same way you
but
need.
by the time you rent, by the time you do a short let for 1 month, you never reach money where you could take rent house for 1 year.
I
Do
get
people have that kind of money?
I get you, but like that's the thing. Cause you now, in as much as you're low on funds and all,
Yeah.
most of the time landlords come to and they say they're also low on funds. So you screaming you want to do monthly payment,
Uh-huh.
them they are screaming they want 2 years payment.
Oh, they're asking for 2 years payment now.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
That's like the new development.
Wow.
They can just wake up and say, most especially that happens when there's like a lot of people on the house. Like the house is really
when it's in
rush,
high demand.
high demand for that
Yeah.
property. The owner is like, okay, look, what do we do? Because he doesn't know who to pick. He'll be like, okay, turn it to highest bidder.
And that's why I feel like you need government to intervene, honestly. Because, I mean, you can't just be
What can we do?
putting prices. But then, like you said, if there's a house for 100 million, there's somebody with 100 million in the pocket to pay for it.
Exactly.
Right. Bringing me on to my next question. What is full package?
What is full package?
Yes. Because you see on rental
The total
list
package,
on
you
listings, total package. Yeah, you see listings of maybe the rent is 4 million, total package is 7 million. Why? What is total package?
Okay, now the total package comprises of the rent, the basic rent of the house,
Right.
the agency, which is
Right.
10%, most times, non-negotiable. The legal could be bent, depends on what you agree with the lawyer
Right.
as the tenant. That goes as 5% sometimes, but nowadays it's 10%.
Yeah.
Then caution fee is for the damages in the house. It's a deposit
The damages that you incur.
cure
Okay.
during the 1 year stay. If you fix things you damage, there's going to be a check at the end of the year by a representative of the owner. You get, when he comes for a check, if the property is still in the same condition you rented it for or as, you get,
They give
your
you your
caution fee will be refunded.
Does everybody do this?
Not everybody does this.
But they
Cause-
charge caution fee.
They charge caution fee, yeah, they do. Well, it depends on the tenant actually. If you damage something and you replace it instantly,
Then you're still
your
eligible
caution,
to
you're
get
sure of your
back.
caution, yeah.
Right. Then what else? Service charge.
The service charge, now there are different kind of properties. There's a semi-detached, there's a fully detached, there's terraces, apartments. So those ones, there are some that they are self-serviced and serviced. When it's self-serviced, you run your own generator. Nobody's stopping you for service charge or whatsoever.
Yeah.
Only if it's in an estate. You have to pay estate charge, there's the security, water and all that.
Right.
So service charge entails when you rent a service property, it entails that too. The estate charge, sewage, water, cleaning, and all that, generator,
Yeah.
you get. So that's why. So if it's going to be 24 hours light, you know the kind of service charge to expect.
Ooh.
It's going to skyrocket.
Ooh.
But it's going to be like 18 hours thereabouts. Then
Yeah.
the service charge is just minimal.
Okay. So, I mean, this has been a very insightful conversation. I feel like anybody who is in the market to rent a property and comes across this podcast would leave feeling very enlightened, But then my final question, bringing it back to Ramos Realty. Ramos Realty has become synonymous with luxury, with properties in highbrow areas, right?
Right.
Are there any plans to expand to more affordable locations for people who cannot afford those really expensive properties? Are there any plans that are in the pipeline to, put up more affordable properties for the common man.
Yeah, in as much as we focus on luxury,
Yeah.
because that's what our brand entails, you get, we still listen to what our clients have to say, people out there,
Yeah.
feedbacks and all, you get.
Uh-huh.
We still have to pay attention to that because, that's actually meant to be the focus.
Right.
So, in as much as we drive that vision, we still need to meet those people that are not
Your clients need.
you get your clients need. So that's why we still have various options. So it depends on what you want.
All right. Awesome, Tobe. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man.
You're welcome.
It's been great having you. I mean, I feel like this is one of the most insightful conversations I've had, and that brings me to the end of the podcast. All right, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the Ramos Podcast. If you've listened on Spotify or watched on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you're notified every time that we make a new video. Also, follow us on Instagram at Ramosoflagosrealty and rent at RamosRent NG if you're in the market for a rental property. My guy, Tobe, will put you through. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.